This is all in the Hague documents. Basically, he was threatening to go to the Australian authorities and tell my employers that I'm illegal because I'm not married to him anymore. And I was on a spousal visa, and because we're not together or we're separated, that I wasn't entitled to that visa. It ended up then, the games, the not paying support, the not having access to any money, our house is rented out, led me to the point then where I felt like I had no choice but to leave. I couldn't work, I couldn't function, and I ended up homeless, staying with the kids in a friend's house. So I left with the kids, but then ended up in court. The judge was brilliant, absolutely. You know, my solicitors, QC, everything was down because of the serious nature of the things that have occurred. They wanted to put protective measures in place for me and the children. They made him pay money via international bank transfer. They arranged for a hotel for us to stay in when we arrived for a week that he had to pay for. The order, a mirror order, was to be created via Melbourne, and they had a judge online with that. So the practicality, so when we arrived, the money that they took didn't arrive until 10 days later. They paid for the hotel, but you know the way you need a credit card to verify, so he hadn't done that. I didn't have a credit card, so I rang him and he refused to come up. So because even though the $700 or whatever it was paid, we couldn't stay. So we were on the street within about a day. I went to get legal aid and it was just horrific. I was told that they don't pay me enough to respond to this affidavit, an affidavit that he had come up with. It was like this long. So I had to take the wee boy, who was supposed to be in school, to the cinema to see Spider-Man. Then we went and stayed, and in like a hotel bunker, like, you know, where the cars parked below the hotel, we put cardboard up. Yeah, it was like horrific for him. You know, there was no safety net for either of us. I was entitled to nothing. Do you know, it was so bad that I got a voucher from British Red Cross for £30, $30, and I had to pretend that the chicken had gone off so they'd give us another one. You know, that the level of destitution, even in a so-called first world country, we were not protected. You know, my child had to move schools umpteen times. The supportive measures are not there. They were not there. How to access them when you're so vulnerable? You know, I think it would be really helpful to have a support worker. I think if a family has to move back, wraparound support, financial and emotional, should be in place for the duration of a relocation application, housing, counselling for the children and parent. We are all aware of ACEs now. They can have lifelong consequences. No child should be put through the type of trauma mine have. We had no family in Australia. We had no support network, no money after paying for hostels, and no access to any government funding. The abuse continued in Australia, was highlighted and proven during my Hague case. And despite the judge, my barrister, solicitor and QC creating an order to protect me and the children, it took one day for it to be disregarded, for us to be on the streets, suitcases in hand holding all their belongings. The mental torture I endured in a foreign country at the hands of my ex-husband with no support was unfathomable. I still live with this trauma, and I could never go back to Australia. We all should have been able to access the same level of support we received in our home country. We simply did not. I think when there is proven abuse involved, then why not allow a custody court case to be held in a country where families will receive as a bare minimum the legal support they need?